Good day, everyone. Good day, ma'am. And for this subject, legal aspects in tourism and hospitality, I will tackle about the chapter 16, the formalities of entry in and exit from the Philippines. Now, for the learning objectives, we have to identify various government requirements for foreigners to enter the Philippines, then explain the importance of a valid passport when traveling, then enumerate the privileges of Filipinos covered by the Balikbayan program, then discuss the dual citizenship law. Now, for the introduction, the entry and admission of foreigners into the Philippines are matters of privilege because every foreign state has absolute and exclusive power of government in its own territory. Although entitled to all the rights and privileges of a friendly guest, they cannot claim the right to enjoy privileges which by their nature belong exclusively to the host. Now we have the admission requirements. Section 10, non-immigrants must present for admission into the Philippines an unexpired passport or official documents in the nature of passport issued by the government of the countries to which they owe allegiance or other travel documents showing their origins and identity as prescribed by regulation and valid passport visas granted by diplomatic or consular officers. Non-immigrants must present an expired passport and valid visas prior to their admission into the Philippines. The Philippine Immigration Act provides seven visas. We have the seven visas categories for non-immigrants, namely number 1, temporary visitors, number 2, transient, then 3, seaman, then number 4, treaty trader or treaty investors, number 5, we have foreign government official, number 6, student, and number 7, prearranged employment. An alien is allowed only one immigration visa category at any given time. Now, for non-immigrants entering the Philippines must present valid passport and visas, as I said. Now, for those seeking prearranged employment visas, applicants must secure authorization from the Commissioner of Immigration through the Philippines Consular Office. They need to prove that the nature of the job, lack of local qualified workers, employment duration, the compensation details, necessity and public benefit, valid entry to the Philippines, employment contract applicant must also provide proof of qualifications, alien employment permit from the Department of Labor and Employment, work permits from the Bureau of Immigration, clean background check, financial capacity of the employer, commitment to avoid political activities, exclusive use of the visa, corporate registration documents, proof of tax payments by the applicant and employer. This ensures that only qualified individuals who benefit the Philippines are granted these visas. The admission of aliens under pre-arranged employment. The Balikbayan program allows certain individuals to enter the Philippines visa-free for 1 year. Eligible Balikbayans include Filipino citizens out of the country for at least 1 year, Filipino overseas worker, former Filipino citizens naturalized abroad and their families. Those with foreign passports except restricted nationals can enter visa-free for a year. These cases the return for Filipinos and their families living abroad. Then we have also the Philippine immigration policy on Indians. Indian nationals can obtain a temporary visitor's visa for the Philippines if they apply from India or their current place of legal or permanent residence. If they have previously been granted a temporary visitor visa, they can reapply from any Philippine embassy or consulate in a third country provided they haven't been denied a visa, blacklisted, or deported from the Philippines. Lifting immigration restrictions on South Africans. The UN lifted economic sanctions on South Africa in 1993, allowing freer travel and trade. Then we have passport requirements. Passports as government issues identity documents play a key role in facilitating international movement. This change marks South Africa's reintegration into the global community, enabling its citizens to engage more freely in international affairs. There are three types of passports, namely we have diplomatic passports, and we have also official passports, then regular passports. Now, in the Philippines, passport certifies citizenship for travel in certain cases. Travel documents are issued instead passport loss requires immediate reporting and a waiting period for a new one. Immigration may deny entry if citizenship cannot be proven. This procedure ensures careful passport management in the Philippines. We have also the fantasy passports, camouflage passport. So, fantasy passport, also called as camouflage passport. These are the fake travel documents from fictional or defunct entities. They lack legitimacy or international travel and are often used for fraudulent purposes, posing risks to security and border control. Unlike genuine passports, they lack proper security features and are easy distinguishable by authorities. Efforts are made to detect and prevent their circulation to safeguard international travel integrity. Then we have the visa requirements. A visa is an endorsement on a travel document or passport by a consular official, indicating that the holder's applicant has been reviewed and they are permitted to travel to the destination country. However, possessing a visa does not guarantee entry as the final destination rests with immigration authorities at the port of entry. They have the authority to admit or deny entry based on the assessment of the individual's eligibility. The nationals from the following countries are required to secure visas prior to entry into the Philippines. So, as you can see in the screen, number one, Albania. So I will not read all of it because it's 1 to 40. Now we have Subic Special Investors Visa, a Republic Act 7227. This visas allows foreign investors to reside in the Subic Bay Freeport Zone, offering residency and economic benefits to both local development. They have also a Special Economic Zone Visa, Republic Act 7916, issued to foreign investors in Philippine economic zones. These visas provide residency to attract foreign capital and create jobs. Then we have a Special Clark Economic Zone Visas, Executive Order Number 80, 1993. These visas facilitate the entry and residence of foreign investors in the Clark Special Economic Zone to promote economic growth and industrialization. Then we have the Cagayan Economic Zone and Freeport Visa, Republic Act 7922. This visa offers residency and incentives to foreign investors in the Cagayan Economic Zone, aiming to drive economic development in the area. And also investors in tourist-related project or tourist establishment, Executive Order Number 63. Visas under this order encourage foreign investments in tourism projects, enhancing infrastructure and services in the tourism sectors. And we have also the exclusion of foreigners. Immigration authorities can deny entry to foreigners for security reasons, lack of documents, or failure to meet entry requirements. Deportation of foreigners. Foreign nationals may be removed from the country for violating immigration laws or committing serious infractions, ensuring law and order. And also, detention of foreign travelers. Travelers may be detained for immigration violations, lack of documentation, or security threats until their status is resolved or they are deported. Exit requirements. Foreign nationals must comply with regulations like paying fees and obtaining clearance before leaving the country, ensuring legal compliance. Now, the Philippines' entry and exit formalities ensure and secure an orderly movement through specific visa and passport requirements. Various visa categories cater to tourism, employment, and investment. Programs like a Balikbayan and Economic Zone visas promote tourism and investment. Compliance with these regulations safeguards national security and supports economic growth. So that will be all for the chapter 16. Thank you and God bless.